So in this tutorial video, we're going to discuss some strange errors, in fact, two in particular that may sporadically occur and how to deal with them. So needless to say, it can be a little bit challenging to demonstrate a particular error if it's really few and far in between, and so, to capture that on video can be a challenge, right? So let me attempt to describe what this first error can look like and what you can do about it. So let's say you start typing a spell, but as you type, for example, the word print, you see that the P shows up and then suddenly the R shows up right where the P was. Then it's an I, an N, and a T, and oftentimes it'll be highlighted. So you'll see something like this where it's, say the letter P, and then suddenly it's highlighted. And then as you type in an R, it suddenly, once again, is highlighted as follows. And you say to yourself, well, wait, what's going on? It's almost as if though we're stuck right here in this first character space, unable to really type all the way out as we would if we were, for example, typing print like this, right? So let's say we wanted to type that, but instead what's really just happening is that we see the P, the R, the I, the N, the T, and it's just showing up in this first space here, this first spot, and it's highlighted as if though an attempt is being made to copy and paste it. It's really weird, and it just only happens when you first sometimes clear the spell box and you're going to start working on another spell, and sometimes that may happen. So the secret there is to simply click over here onto the emulated computer screen window, and when you come back over here to the spell box and you clear away what's there, more often than not, in fact practically every time, it'll just go back to working as intended. This is something that does not arise very often, but when it does, it can be a little bit perplexing. Needless to say, in addition to doing the technique that was just described, whereby you would click on the emulated computer screen window and then click back here onto the spell box, you can of course, click on the upper right hand X within Alexia BASIC to close the program down entirely. That's not really necessary for this particular error, this very first one that we just finished discussing. Now, the second error that may occasionally arise is, for example, you'll type something like print hello world, and when you press the tab button, or alternatively just click with the mouse on the cast button, all of a sudden, so like let's do this. We'll click on the cast button so we see how the spell remains here in the spell box window, and then in a moment there it is in the emulated computer screen window. Well, when this subtle and strange error occurs, and this typically only arises when you first start Alexia BASIC, what'll happen is you'll click on the cast button, or alternatively you'll press the tab button to start tabbing your way over to the cast button, and the contents of the spell box will simply vanish. So this will just vanish as you move to the emulated computer screen window, or alternatively as you click on the cast button. And it's something that could be a little bit confusing, and then you say to yourself, well, okay, let me just kind of go back and I'll type in print, hello world. Yeah, let me just make sure this is working, and of course it would be helpful if we spelled hello world correctly. There you go. And you click on the cast button and then it vanishes. It's very unusual. Typically this only happens when you've been running Alexia BASIC for a long time and you've had to close Alexia BASIC more than once, because maybe you're working on very complex spells, and spells get out of control and you need to shut down Alexia BASIC and then restart it. That's really the only time when this has oftentimes been observed, but it does occasionally happen. So if it happens to you, the best course of action for that particular anomaly is to press or click on the upper right hand X and simply shut Alexia BASIC down, count to 10, start Alexia BASIC up again, and it should work without a problem. So those are the two anomalies or errors that occasionally will arise. It really doesn't happen that often. And of course, I use Alexia BASIC multiple times every single day. So this is something that's very, very rare, and it's unclear why this happens, but that is how you handle those two anomalies. And so in the rare event you run into these issues, you'll now know how to deal with them. Thanks for watching. Now please subscribe to our channel.